This episode's brought to you by Nectar. Nectar is a nootropic energy pouch that's designed for clean, fast-acting energy. Go to nectar.energy and use promo code Zackass.
I hold to the point. I have a podcast, Nerd of Mouth, where we talk about like different nerd stuff. I think it was one of the worst things that could have happened to nerd culture that they changed the team.
Yeah.
Because we should not have felt that much power. Then we felt like we could change presidencies, and there's a direct correlation between Sonic's teeth and January 6th. This is all I'm saying.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Maximum Zach. On today's episode, we have Mike Lawrence.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, dude?
Good,
How are
man.
you?
I'm good.
Hell yeah. I think the first time we met was at a wrestling event.
It was at a GCW event. It was at the company that killed Sabu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. No.
Yeah.
I remember these guys were giving you bad comedy advice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I felt like such a dick because I was like, I have more credit to these guys, but you were being sincere about wanting to get more into stand-up, and they were giving you horrible advice. And I felt bad. Yeah. And I'd seen the movie. I knew who you were. Yeah. But even then, it's like, I don't have any star fuckery in me. I just have a sense of protecting people from bad comedy. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no. Yeah. And it felt like, they were like telling you to do like this open mic that they run, and I was like, you don't want to do that. It's like, do you want to do this or do you want to quit? Because their way will make you quit. Yeah,
dude, I remember that. Like, for some reason, I think about that all the time. Like, some just bearded dude came out of nowhere and was just like started giving me advice. Like, I don't know. That kind of happens to me a lot though. Like, people come out I used to like. Sometimes, like, I would give like homeless people money and stuff. Yeah. And then, but this is like sort of different advice.
I mean, you have a cross on your neck. You want to be saved.
Yeah. Well, no.
And I'm a bearded man, and then I come in, and
like sometimes I would like give homeless people.
My dad wasn't there for me all the time, just like Jesus, and I haven't been nailed yet, but well,
yeah. Usually, like, if I like, it'll start off like, oh yeah, do you have like $1? I'll give them like $1 or something, and then they start giving me fitness advice.
Yeah. See, I get the if I'm near one, they're like, that's my turf. Like, they think I'm a rival homeless person. Yeah. Seats taken. Yeah, I remember. I was working across the street from a 7-Eleven, and I was getting picked up by a friend. And I was just in the parking lot, and the guy's like, you better go somewhere else. And they're just like, I'm not one of you. I will lose all my money, but not yet. Yeah. I remember my favorite thing about that GCW show was that at the end, it was, I remember it was Joey Janela.
Yeah.
And he attacks X-Pac. Mm-hmm. Who's I know in real life, Sean Wallman, he's a good dude, and people started like booing him. It was like this massive like heel turn, and Janela's like very connected to the company, so it was like the John Cena heel turn, but done well. And people I remember very vividly, people start throwing cups at him, and you're like, okay, that's okay. Then they were throwing bottles at him, and then by the end, they were throwing the buckets that the bottles were in. They're throwing metal, and because he's like egging them on when they're throwing the cups, the solo cups, and then by the time it gets to the buckets, he's like, oh, yeah. And it's like, I love being a wrestling fan. That stuff's embarrassing. Where it's like, don't actually hurt the performer.
Yeah, no.
Can we have like a understanding here?
They're just like stoked or mad or whatever, and it's just like, dude, like, calm down. Like, literally,
you're actually gonna like hurt this guy, and it's not,
And then they're like, I mean, at that point, like, I'm not like, I've seen like clips of wrestlers like getting pissed, and then like they end up like fighting the person in the audience too. Yeah. Which, like, if that, I mean, like, I know like supposed to be professional, but if you're actually throwing a bottle at somebody,
Oh yeah, no,
like I
mean,
get it. Like,
well, in the '80s, Bill Watts had the rule. If you wrestled for him in Mid South, if you lost a bar fight, you were fired.
oh no way, that's gnarly.
Yeah, it was because that was the thing. Like you had to be like a tough guy. The beginnings of wrestling were carnival workers. No one can last 3 minutes with me. Like the beginning of Spider-Man's origin is what wrestling used to be.
Yeah.
Lasting, no woman. I've never lasted more than 3 minutes with a woman, so I must be a bad wrestler. But it's amazing though when you watch like the '80s. They weren't allowed to. The good guys and the bad guys couldn't eat together. They couldn't be in the hotels. Yeah, and what's funny, like, and there's like such a bitterness now because most people already knew then that it wasn't real, but they were taught by old guys who grew up at a time where it wasn't the case. And they felt like they had to keep that more, and and it's like these dudes, Roddy Piper would always tell these stories of people trying to attack him and stuff. And
Dude, that's so
great YouTube rabbit hole, man, right? Is whenever you watch people run in the ring and get beaten up by the wrestlers.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There's
the one with Triple H in Germany where a guy goes after Austin and he starts stomping the guy and then the ref joins.
I mean, like, what do you expect to happen?
Oh, there was a dude who tackled Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame. It was like a 65-year-old stroke victim and is not a happy guy. You don't need to make his life worse than it already is. Yeah. And this dude in a Rasta hat attacks him, and then all the boys just take turns. It's awesome.
That's sick. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I love going down YouTube rabbit holes. Like, what other stuff do you like to watch on YouTube? I used to be really into Denny's fights.
Which fights?
Denny's fights.
Just fights at Denny's?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was funny. I was in the slap boxing for like a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And then it became an actual, like, sport on TV with Dana White, and I'm like, no, you should be ashamed watching this. Like, there's no credibility. It's just people slapping each other into unconsciousness.
Yeah, like it has to be like the longevity of that kind of career has to be pretty short. Like, like because like CTE and like everything. Like, dude, you're like instantly just like scrambling your brain.
It is literally who gives the other person CTE first is the winner.
Yeah.
But I would watch some of those, and and like I said, they're often in Russia. There was one guy, I forget, Vasily. His nickname was like Dumpling, and he was just this like stacked, and you couldn't face him, and he knocked just everybody out, and it was great because it's like, that those guys are getting killed afterwards. Yeah. It's like I like stakes, I like watching a soccer match between 2 South American countries because it really is sudden death. Yeah. They would kill people if they botch penalties and stuff like that. I like that, it's dramatic.
Yeah, it definitely makes it more entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're going to watch these NBA finals and they all get to stay rich.
Yeah, they literally.
Boring.
They should start doing that. They just take everything away from them.
At the very least, the team that loses should be penniless and then it just has to live in the city they played for.
That would suck.
Yeah.
That would suck. What was I going to... Oh, and now a brief word from our sponsor. It's time to talk to you about Nectar. And boy, do I love Nectar, because it gets me going. It gets me through the day. Forget about those energy drinks. Forget about all that other caffeine stuff. All you do is you take one of these nootropic pouches, put it in your mouth, and you're locked in. And it's awesome. Nectar is cognizant of caffeine, which is food for your brain, so it's time to feed that brain. They have all kinds of flavors, too. They have atomic apple, they have fresh mint, they have glacial green. They've got a bunch of flavors. They have almost so many flavors that I can't even name them all. So go to nectar.energy and use promo code Zackass and give it a try for yourself. You won't regret it. That's nectar.energy and make sure to use promo code Zackass. What's one of your favorite movies?
One of my favorite movies. Team America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it felt like this. I don't think this was made for many people, but I'm one of the ones it was made for. I lost my voice laughing so hard at it at the time. And it even, I'll be honest, it's an 85-minute movie, and the last 20 minutes kind of drag because they've hit all the jokes. But the first 45 minutes and that sex scene, it's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Dirty Work. Dirty Work is one. I know there's
Dirty Work.
Yeah, they have like a rated R version that's coming out now. Like a more
the dirtier version, they said, or something.
Yeah, they do.
I'm stoked for that.
I mean, that movie, it's just the cast is like insane, and Norm is not a good actor, and that's part of what makes it fun for me. One of my favorite lines in any movie is he pretends to be a cop, and then he calls the actual cops to stop these frat boys and beat them up. But when he calls 911, he just goes, "Hello, real cops?" It's just so funny. Dude. It was one of those movies I watched it, like, me and my wife and I have been together 15 years, but that was like our first month, like, let's understand each other better movie. And she was like, yeah, this isn't as funny if you're a woman. Like, they say whore a lot. And I guess the dirtier version just has them say whore more. Now with more whore. I'm like, you're not wrong. What about you?
I mean, I don't know. I really like growing up, like Tommy Boy was one.
Yeah.
I love Tommy Boy. Black Sheep, even though it's not as good as Tommy Boy.
Wasn't that a formative moment of realizing like a little bit of cynicism? Like, you love Tommy Boy and you're like, they're trying to give me the same thing, but it's reheated. This isn't as good. Because there's that innocent time, right? Everything's great, everything's awesome. But I remember seeing Black Sheep and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I really wonder when I started like critiquing movies, like as a kid. I'm just like, I don't know if that was that good, but I mean, it was still fun. It was still like funny. It was still fun.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, eventually you're like, oh, like that Tommy Boy's better.
I love that in Tommy Boy, it's supernatural that you can die and have wind powers. That the dad is dead, but he's a ghost that can make boats move.
Yeah.
Where does that come from in this movie? The first, I know I haven't come out the second Happy Gilmore, but that first Happy Gilmore, that was one of those.
Yeah.
I go Ace Ventura 2 over Ace Ventura 1, and I know I'm going to lose people, but I believe it in my heart.
Ace Ventura 2. How many Ace Venturas are there?
There's two.
There's
two. There's technically 3.
Okay, that's what I was about to say, because I was like,
Yeah.
I was confused if there was more on the... What's the one where he's like coming out of the rhino? That's 2.
It's the one in Africa. I will not lose this argument to anyone unless they're a black person and they say this is kind of offensive. Then I'm like, all right, you're right.
I feel like as a kid I might have liked the I haven't seen both of them in so long.
Yeah.
But the second one was good.
The first one's really good, but the second one, I mean, no one had a better rookie year than Jim Carrey in movies. In 1994, in April, he does Ace Ventura. In July, he does The Mask, and in December, he does Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And he was still on Living Color.
Yeah, that's insane, actually. Yeah. That's such an insane career.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, like, comes close, I think he's 83. He had Trading Places. Not Beverly Hills Cop, but he was in something else. Oh, and Rock came out. Yeah, and he was on SNL. He hosted while he was a cast member. No one else has ever done that.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wasn't the cable guy didn't like Chris Farley wasn't he supposed to be the cable guy?
I don't know.
Or it was somebody. It was like, or he like thought he was gonna do that and then didn't do it, and then or they gave it to Jim Carrey, like obviously. But I could have I think it was that or something. It was something like that. Also, like Shrek would have been like totally different if it was Chris Farley, like it was originally supposed to be.
Like, I always think about that, and I think. Like Mike Myers, he's doing his own thing, but it's like you can't not think of Fat Bastard the whole time. It's just a Fat Bastard voice, and it works for the movie. But there was something about Chris Farley that I think lots of fatties can fall down.
Yeah.
But he made you care about getting back up, and that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, no, that actually makes sense. I haven't heard anyone say that, and that is a really good way to put it.
He was like lovable. He was believable. I think that's part of why Tommy Boy is better than Black Sheep. It's just a sweeter story, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they hadn't done all their best gags. It's like you do the best jokes in the first one and then the second one. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's what they used in the 30s and 40s. Dudes would make like 18 movies together, like
Yeah.
Hope and Crosby, and yeah, it's like just run it till there's nothing left.
Literally.
The Three Stooges all had CTE by the end.
Oh yeah. I would imagine like, yeah, they definitely had to.
Yeah. You can only guard the finger poke so long.
So, when did you start writing for like movies and stuff or like shows? I know you're right. Like you write.
Yeah,
for
I write for TV mostly.
TV mainly.
Yeah. I started I started stand up. I'll be 20 years in November. I know it sounds like sobriety.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
speak with regret. No.
Yeah.
And then I started writing in like 2012, and it was amazing. Like Roast Battle came up like in like around 2014, and I was living in New York, and I would visit, and I was like, that show spoke to me. It's like an asshole contest. I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And I, and I started doing it, and there was like a battle between me and Ralphie May that that some people remember, and that was, and that helped my career a lot, and I was getting, I was doing stand up on the road, but I was getting writing offers, and every time I would take the writing offer because I just thought there was more longevity in it. The touring, I was married. It just didn't seem as sustainable. Like, it's like I write for a lot of other comedians. I don't have that natural charisma. I fall down. People don't want to see me get back up. They want me to stay down. Yeah. And it's like, but I can work for people with charisma and personalities. And, I'm inherently like spastic and weird. And yeah, I was diagnosed with autism, like, 4 years ago at this point, but it's like I could work with the neurotypicals and be accepted.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What's one of your favorite things that you've written on?
I would say one of my favorite things, there's an episode of Crashing that I co-wrote.
Okay.
And it was about the three comedians going on the road together. And one of them, it's like, so it's like Pete Holmes and his girlfriend, like Jamie Lee, and this character played by Dove Davidoff, who's like a veteran comic, and he's like the older, grumpier guy, and it's like it's a road gig episode, and like it was just very true to what I felt about comedy. And I remember we were shooting, and it was like one of my favorite like pitches I ever had was the Jamie's like, they're arguing back and forth, and she's like, I'm sorry, you've been doing it for 18 years and it didn't go the way you wanted. And I just like came up with this line. I'm like, have him say 22. And he goes, 22. It was 22. And that to me is that guy in a nutshell. Like, you could call me a failure all you want, but you better get the amount of years I failed right. It matters. So that was one. Some of the roast, the Tom Brady roast was that was fun. My dad's dead, so it was like, oh, I finally got to write on something he'd be really proud of me for.
Yeah,
but he can't see it.
Like,
but I worked with Randy Moss just because he was a Raider and my dad was a Raiders fan. But I knew nothing about football, but it was fun because so many of the other people on the staff did. And what was fascinating to me, it goes back to the 22, 18 thing. Those guys care so much still. All that stuff is years ago, but they care about who won what game, who caught what pass. It's so real to them. And I come from being a wrestling fan where it's real to them when it's not. But these guys, it's like, but they can't get over anything. That's what was funny to me.
That's kind of gnarly.
Yeah, it was like the 30 for 30. I remember they had about the Buffalo Bills, where there's like 4 Super Bowls in a row. I don't know if it was in a row, but they lost 4 Super Bowls in like 5 years. and half the documentary is just them watching the footage. Be like, yeah, well, that's where I didn't do that. And it's like, and no matter what happens in their lives, no matter what their kids do, no matter the joy they feel, like they can't leave that moment. And that's hilarious to me. It's like, you got paid millions to do it, but at the end of the day, it's still just a dumb game.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I could imagine that would just be like, that would suck, dude. That would suck so bad to lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But you got there, and
you got. I. That's just like, yeah. At least you were there. Like,
well, there was another. It was like a 30 for 30 that was all about scapegoating, and it was about the guy who tried to catch the ball at like a Cubs game. Steve Bartman was his name, and then and he got blamed for them losing, and they went into like the really specifics of like, there was another game the day after that they also lost that he had nothing to do with. The guy like changed his identity.
Yeah, I bet. I remember people were really upset about that.
Just imagine,
they probably still are.
Just imagine how better their lives would be if they were mad at themselves. Why do I care so much about baseball? There's other things in life. I'm healed. Nah, I'll just say, fuck that guy, Steve. And but they go into there's a guy in there, Bill Bruckner, who was, I think he was Boston or whatever. He's the famous where the ball rolls past him and he doesn't catch it. I think it was like in the 80s. And there's a moment in the documentary where they're like, hey, Bill, we're ready to forgive you now. And he goes, you're ready to forgive me? I have to be ready to forgive you. I was just doing my job and had a bad day. You guys have just brought this up for 20 years. It's like, good for him. It's like, slow down, everybody.
Oh, God.
Did you, when you were on, when you did the Jackass movie, were you afraid of like getting a stunt wrong in the sense of like in front of these older guys that you look up to?
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely like afraid of like that happening. Just like, or like, I mean, I don't know. It was kind of like, I also was just like, I don't like if they want me to do something that's like crazy, like what, like super crazy, or like I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I should just like in my head, I was like, I'm just gonna do it, like,
yeah,
because I'm gonna be like super upset with myself if I say no or something,
What's that fan base like?
Jackass fan base?
Yeah.
They're chill. They're cool. Most of them are cool.
But they like, I mean,
Yeah.
you were a standout in the movie.
Yeah.
Like they embraced you and stuff.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's some.
Yeah.
It's like hitting. There's some people that aren't. There were some people that weren't stoked on new people being in it. Which any time you take some sort of known thing
Property,
and then and then add like new people into it, people are gonna be like a little upset. But I think for the most part, like, it went well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. It's not like, there weren't like people like, it's not like when they were like, oh, we have to change how Sonic looks right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't like.
I hold to the point. I have a podcast, Nerd of Mouth, where we talk about like different nerd stuff. I hold to this point. I think it was one of the worst things that could have happened to nerd culture that they changed the teeth.
Yeah.
Because we should not have felt that much power. Then we felt like we could change presidencies, and there's a direct correlation between Sonic's teeth and January 6th. This is all I'm saying. But like this entitlement that was created from that, and like it was good that they did it, but when entertainment just becomes a jukebox, it's like the multiverse in comic book movies, where it's like, this is a thing that could bring anything that you've ever thought of to life. I'm like, can it bring the old actors back so they can do the things that they used to not do? Yes. You could get any story you want because of the multiverse. Can 55-year-old Hugh Jackman finally put on the mask? Yeah. He can. Yes. And I mean, it was awesome, but it's a slippery slope when you're just, a cruise ship musician being like, what else do you guys want?
Yeah.
How many times can you play the Pina Colada song?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'd say 5.
Yeah, maybe 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 6 if you're lucky. But
yeah. But that's 5 times that couple has to knowingly cheat on each other and then realize they had so much in common.
What's have you ever had any like really have you ever had any like funny bombing stories?
The harder question is, have you ever done well?
Yeah, have you ever done well?
Oh yeah. Oh,
I ask myself that all the time. Literally.
I've bombed. It's and stand up, especially when you're just. I mean, I've bombed in writers' rooms with pitches, with jokes that just fall flat. Like that's embarrassing, but stand up where it's just you and there's nothing else. And I mean, yeah, if when I would headline, and that was the hardest, like doing 45 to an hour. If they don't like you up top.
Oh yeah.
Then you're just
they're
like
not gonna like you any other point.
Then you're just like the stepdad who's like, look, I mean, I'm still gonna fuck your mom, so like, I don't know, we don't have to be friends, but like that's gonna happen. I mean, Sheila got a thing, and they she booked me for the weekend, so I've bombed. Like I would make the mistake of like making fun of the comic that came before me. And if they did really well, sometimes I deserved it. It was a karma thing. But sometimes even if a comic was like bad, hacky, doing really uncomfortable stuff, like if a comic is being racist and the racism is getting the laughs, the audience doesn't want you to point out how racist it is. They're like, oh, now I feel bad. So, but yeah, a lot of bombs. I mean, one of my favorite ones ever was, this was like, I was like a year in and I was doing this Halloween show and KRS-One was supposed to headline and he no-showed and they announced it and then brought me on stage and it was a Halloween show. I was in a Mr. Fantastic costume. Before the Fantastic Four were cool.
Nice.
And
thanks for clarifying.
Hopefully, this is their year.
Yeah, no,
that's my
the movie
sports.
kind of looks good.
Yeah, I need it. But yeah, but he was supposed to have a fog machine, and they decided to just let the fog machine anyways. So like people were throwing stuff at me, and I couldn't see it.
Dude.
Yeah, I've had real bad bombs where, it's like when they don't like a joke, it's fine. But man, when they don't like you as a person, when they hate the idea of your existence,
yeah, that's the worst.
When they're like, "Can we just heckle your parents?" Because you don't even deserve criticism. Yeah, but but I always say to people like, I think it's what I said to you, or I was like, just go up, just do it a bunch, and you'll know if you want to do it or not.
Yeah, I remember, dude. One time I was doing stand up at a brewery, and like it was packed, but like nobody laughed at anything that I said at all. It was horrible. I was like, I honestly though I didn't react. I wasn't like that upset by it. I was just like, okay, like that sucked, but like. I was surprised at how not phased I was by that one time.
And you go backstage, the other comics.
There wasn't even a backstage. I had to sit with everybody.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, but when you go backstage, you're like, were they rough for anyone else? Like, no, they're great.
They were literally great for everyone. Like I was just horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I would have stories where I went, but this is before people, filmed every crowd work interaction. But sometimes, it was like, and now like having my diagnosis and stuff, I realize like I have like certain tendencies, like a need to belong. So if I say something about someone and it gets a laugh, I would inherently want to say 5 more things. Even though the first one worked great and I should move on, like there's like an addictive part of me that can't. And I remember there was this woman, as she was heckling. It was like a 10 o'clock Monday show, which set up for success. And she's heckling, and I just say, "Hey, look, I'm sorry that I look like the dad that never accepted you while he was alive." And she goes, my dad died 3 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, if only he could have lived long enough to teach you how to be a better audience member. And she's so furious. Like this was kind of the comedy community is like a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at the bar with like a few friends after, and she had heckled all them too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
she comes, she's like, you crossed the line. What you said was very rude. And this one, I forget the name, one black comic goes, shut up, you goofy bitch. I'm glad your dad's because I just told them the story, and it was like all the comments. It was like that moment in Spider-Man, like you mess with New York, you mess with all of us. And there was a part of me that like did feel sad, but at that it's like, yeah, but that don't give you an excuse to like talk through every set. Like the grieving process is hard. Don't do it with alcohol.
Maybe do it at home.
Yeah. If you need to be a narcissist, don't be around other narcissists. Which is we all are.
That's gnarly. Oh man. If you could reboot any movie, what would you reboot?
Oof. I would.
And who would you cast?
Black sheep. An all black sheep. We call it Blacker Sheep. And Cedric the Entertainer and Eddie Griffin. No. I would. Well, I think they're fixing Superman, so I don't need to touch that.
Okay.
I would reboot Rent, the musical Rent. I'm just thinking of a movie that was disappointing when it came out because everyone in it was over 40. And it's like, well, if you can't pay your rent then, it's like, it's a musical about AIDS, but everyone in the movie, it's like, how bad can AIDS be if you guys are all still alive? It is not a death sentence. But I would do Rent with actual like struggling artists and stuff. Like do like a talent search. These are people who really need money. This is their big break.
Yeah.
And have this like kind of, campaign where you promote the artist in advance of the film.
Okay, that's actually cool.
Yeah. It's not on top of my head, but yeah. You don't want to remake something that's great.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to set the standards too high either.
Yeah. And if it's like, and look, even bad movies mean something to people. Here's a great thing. Like, if you love a great movie, it's everybody's. But if you love a bad movie, it gets to just be yours.
That's true.
And that's a nice feeling sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
I'll take Batman and Robin with his nipples. Yeah, you don't want it? He's mine. It's fine.
Yeah, I remember when I saw that as a kid, I was like, why does he have nipples? Like,
well, if you've seen the director in any interview, but
he just has huge nipples.
And this is, yeah. Yeah, this is my husband Garriola, and he's just a nipple. Hi, what's up? No, I mean, what was amazing about that was they completely.
Is it cold in here?
Life is hard for you as it is for me. but I remember, they did the first two Batmans. That second Batman was so dark that McDonald's complained. And then they're like, we need to make these lighter. And, they kind of hit a better tone in the third one. Mm-hmm. But then, the fourth one, I love it, though. I love how cheesy it is and how corny it is. I love when people my age try to take superheroes for themselves. Like, adults have already taken Halloween and Christmas. Mm-hmm. And they want to take superheroes. And I'm like, no, you need to be reminded this is for kids first. And you're hogging it on their territory.
Yeah.
Same with wrestling. Anytime that the kids get pushed out, like I will say this as a wrestling fan, I will go WWE over AEW because there are barely any kids in an audience. And I have a 2.5-year-old son, so it feels a lot better and more comfortable with me saying, I like being where the children are. But if you are at like that's what felt weird at that GCW show. It's like you're a wrestling event where it's just other adults, and it's like Like, because even the kids know what wrestling is, but they can lose themselves in it more, and you could argue back and forth and have fun. Like, I went to the Mania that was at the SoFi, a few years ago, and there were like kids, let's go Cena sucks, and it's just fun, and but if you're just doing that with like another adult, it's like we just brought the internet to here. We just paid to be online in person. Just two old guys yelling.
I don't know what I would reboot. I don't even know. Like, maybe, honestly, I would. This is probably they should reboot the Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
I would do like
with actual teenagers. This
yeah.
time? I know.
No, actually, we're gonna make them older.
I think Judd Nelson was like 30.
Dude, anytime I would have to sign in for anything, I used to sign as Judd Nelson.
Oh,
for
wow.
some reason.
Now, here's a question: who do you have be the principal? The Paul Gleason. That guy was great. The 80s,
he was so
the
good.
The 80s knew how to cast assholes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude. I don't even know. I mean, everyone's gonna hate this movie that I rebooted. They're gonna hate me for this. I'm not doing that. No, it's not gonna help my career.
Yeah, you're like, we're keeping the female characters female. Well, that's it.
Okay.
We're not gender swapping. Make the F's M's. Make the F's M's. No. I would.
I don't know who do you think a good principal would be?
Oh man, I mean, like I immediately thought it's like too easy, but like a J.K. Simmons. I think somebody that would be fascinating, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, he's got like the different layers and stuff.
No, that would actually be a good one. I feel like.
Yeah. And then I don't know a lot of teenagers, but I would want them to be younger and yeah. I'm surprised that hasn't been made into a musical, The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that would be interesting actually.
Yeah. Someone take my idea.
Yeah, someone do that.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club musical?
Yeah.
What a weird thing to walk back in on, but
yeah.
I'm on board for that, honestly.
We were just talking about rebooting the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
I would say, like, any other, if you're just rebooting the Breakfast Club in general, don't fucking touch it. But if you're making it a musical, I'm in.
And then it's like you could sing about,
but it's actually about breakfast this time.
I'm doubling down. I'm extra in.
Kellogg's is like really like they're a sponsor.
Forget about Wheaties.
It's kind of like the Pop-Tart movie, but
better and good.
I depend on too many paychecks from people in that movie.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I honestly I liked it. I enjoy it. I love when companies make movies about pastries.
Wait, can you name another one?
No, I can't. But it was the first time when I heard about it, I was like, I'm in.
That movie felt like the movie that would be made in the dystopia. It's like, this is like rich people find food hilarious because they get to eat it, but nobody else gets to.
Yeah.
I remember there was Kurt Vonnegut. Maybe it was Breakfast of Champions. But there we go. Breakfast Club of Champions. But there was, I think it was in that one where he was talking about there's a distant future where food is so scarce that pornography is just people eating apples. Oh man, I'm gonna go home and yank it to someone eating an omelet. So.
Oh man, fuck. Maybe they can do I don't know, what other weird IP could they make a movie about?
What's one of your least favorite movies?
My least favorite movies?
Is a movie you're just like, oh man, you took my time and I want it back. Let's reboot that.
I don't know. I mean, because sometimes I'm trying to think of a movie that I actually legit did not like.
And that's why you live in LA.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually
God bless you.
I love all movies.
Yeah.
Love all movies, especially just any movie that is a movie.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm trying to think like something that I didn't like. Maybe like I don't know. I'm like it's hard for me to be like, oh, I fucking hate this. Like
You find something good in like everything you see, essentially.
Yeah, sometimes like dude, because I even like when people are shit talking what was that movie that it was a Marvel movie that everyone hated.
All of them.
The Eternals?
Recently.
No, not that one. I actually didn't see that. It was the one. Maybe it was Madam Web or something. Was that the one?
Madam Web, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I fucking loved. I feel like I was watching like a 2000s movie, like just some movie from the 2000s.
It was set in 2003.
Yeah, it felt like I was just watching some random DVD that someone gave me, and like I felt like I found like some nostalgia in that, even though it wasn't like the best thing ever, but it was like kind of fun for me still.
It felt like how they used to make movies.
Yeah, no, it definitely
There
did.
was something comforting there.
Yeah,
you know?
like that's where I was like, okay, like I actually don't hate. I mean, there were some very funny like ADR like fuck ups in that movie, like for sure. Like I was like, there's no way that's okay.
Just about any time the villain talked.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was
Duolingo
insane.
on set.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that like, what if they rebooted like the movie Jack, like the Robin Williams?
Yeah. Well, how do you do it? You make it sadder? You make it funnier?
I guess like maybe like I guess we have to lean into the sad. Yeah, I think we would lean into the sad some more. I don't who would even play his character. It's probably dude, it's going to end up being like with today's casting. It's going to end up being fucking what's his name? From not Jack Black.
Jason Momoa?
No, not Jason. That would be so funny.
If you asked
that would be so funny.
If you asked an 8-year-old what would you like to look like,
yeah,
he would say Jason Momoa. It kind of works.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of funny.
Is that the movie is right that it's like he ages like what every 4? So he's like 10. But
Yeah,
he looks 40.
Yeah, he looks like I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Can you read the plot
of Jack?
Of Jack?
Yeah. Hang on a second.
Like exactly, or what his condition is, or something.
I know it's a real
That would.
one.
Who? Like, can you tell me who directed that too?
Yeah.
Bob Williams made some sad movies. Like his Suicide Note could have just.
I'm
been his
almost
IMDb
positive
page.
that movie's directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
It is.
It is directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What a hero that guy is.
Absolutely.
Not just for Jack,
Yeah.
but like you saw like with like Megalopolis, like
Yeah.
where he's just like I made the movie. More people need to be like that. Of like I made what I wanted. Like he spent $120 million of his own dollars.
Yeah.
I wrote a joke for like an award show. It was like, man, like how great is that for like the family, where it's like, here's your inheritance, the movie Megalopolis. There's all the money you're gonna have on screen. And I don't even think like I think he decided for it not to stream or anything. He's like, I want it to be only seen in theaters, but no theater's gonna show it again.
Yeah, like yeah. So like,
baller.
I missed the window to see it in theater. Like,
yeah.
I didn't make time. Kind of regret that.
But I love when people get to, even if it's bad, people get to make what they want. Like,
Yeah.
bad movies by committee suck. Like, you know, like Cats. Like, it's just as an example. That guy got all the money, and that's what he wanted to make. And yeah, we could think about how that money could feed lots of people. We can think about how that money could, you know, help cancer research and all these things. But those cats really catted it up the exact way he wanted them to cat. And you got to respect that on some level of like, hey, man, this is what I'm making. You know, it's like music got worse when they started, you know, everything got focus grouped. You know, and everything gets noted to death. Like you look now, like networks don't even know what they want because it changes so fast. So then they'll greenlight something because it seems like the thing that's popular now, but by the time it's on the air, something else is popular.
Yeah, and then they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and so many shows get canceled after one season, and it's like audiences like feel betrayed. So it's like, I'm not gonna watch something new.
Yeah.
Look at it, you just a one night stand with a show and feel for these characters, and then they're all gone. I'll just go watch The Office again. Or, oh, hey, you guys heard of Suits? I'll watch Suits.
Yeah.
There's 9 seasons of it. It must be good.
I do love Suits.
Suits is good.
Yeah, no, Suits.
By the way, it was Werner syndrome for Jack, and it was a very exaggerated type because the way it happened in the movie does not how it happens.
It doesn't actually happen.
No, it doesn't. It happens, but just not the way it happens in the movie.
So what's Werner syndrome though?
It is how they explain it, except it's not like you age. You're not gonna look 40 when you're 10. You will look older than 10, but you're not gonna look 40.
Well, but we did see in real life like the opposite of that, of like a Gary Coleman.
Yeah,
there was somebody
That's
who
true.
looked like 10 but was in his 40s.
Yeah.
What's the plot of Benjamin Button again?
He ages backwards.
Yeah,
that's
so
literally the whole
he's
plot
old
about it.
when he's young.
Yeah,
and then he gets younger.
Then he turns into a baby.
How was he born? Is it just an old man?
I think he was born an old man.
I haven't been one of these in a while.
Born an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Well, how does he come out?
He was born
So he comes
November
out a
11th.
little old man or a big old man?
He's a tiny old man, a
Okay.
tiny elderly old man,
Okay.
which is
I don't
strange.
like that.
Yeah, he's born looking like he's 80 years old and gets bumped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, very much like Hasbulla.
Yeah.
Was that little guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little guy, like.
I know.
Yeah, well, he's not grown, but.
But
I mean, he's grown for him.
Yeah.
But be honest, if he wanted to get on your back and ride you like Master Blaster, you would do it.
You would. Have you seen that video of him and Mike Tyson? There was like some interview, and Mike Tyson like picked him up and was throwing him around because he thought he was a child, and he learned later like, oh shit, he's an adult.
Sorry, I was only throwing you around because I thought you were a child. my Mike Tyson is just Jay Leno. I have no.
I was gonna say that sounds very much like Jay Leno.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go fight the Paul brothers. You can't say it's a problematic. It's poorly done impression, but it is not. Yeah, I see other movies to reboot. Oh man, let's do the Shaquille O'Neal classic Kazam.
Kazam. Okay.
Yeah.
I
I would remake it and put fucking Sinbad in it for real this time.
Yeah, no, that would be. That's a good take.
I would Kumail Nanjiani.
Ooh,
Oh,
good
I came up with
choice.
him
Yeah.
in comedy and
Good
stuff.
choice.
He's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And him like just getting to cut loose and be this very wacky, let
Yeah.
him improvise as much as he wants.
Mhm.
You know,
Is there like a bad guy in that? Or is there?
Yes.
Like, who is the bad? Like in the
he's,
original?
it's like some record executive. The whole movie is about like
Because I forgot what it's actually
record
about.
companies and stuff. Because like the kid's dad works for a record company, and there's like embezzlement and everything. I just remember
I don't even remember that.
the bad guy gets the lamp and he tries to
Yeah.
control Kazam. But what I remember the most is we're just watching murder on screen. He
Yeah.
takes the guy at the end. He gets his freedom back, and he crumples him up like a basketball.
Yeah.
And Shaq makes the first successful free throw of his
Yeah.
life.
That's awesome.
And into a garbage can, I think. But it's like the guy's dead. It's like remember Bruce Almighty?
Mm-hmm.
There's another murder when the monkey flies out of the guy's ass.
Yeah.
He's dead. I mean, maybe that's how Benjamin Button was born, but like,
yeah, maybe.
yeah, the guy's like, yeah, I'll stop, picking on you when monkeys fly out of my butt, and then a monkey flies out of that dude's butt, and I forget the actor's name, but this one guy was like every cholo in every movie in the 90s and 2000s.
I think his name is Hector, actually.
I've seen that meme.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Like, actually.
because he usually plays Hector.
Yeah.
I fell down the rabbit hole of the Wikipedia about the plot of Shazam, and I do not remember this at all.
It's Kazam.
Kazam, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shazam is the one with Sinbad. Apologies, everyone.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, and Shazam is also the DC Comics character.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That was originally Fawcett Publications. I know DC bought them and acquired them. I don't want to.
Nobody's
I don't want
fact-checking
anyone who
us
looks
here.
like
It's
me to
fine.
be mad
It's
at me.
fine.
If anyone fact checks this, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
The kid dies in the movie.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's right.
Kazam brings him back. Okay, here's something I totally forgot about. A genie and a djinn are two different things in this universe altogether. He is only a genie, not a djinn, and there are certain things he can't do unless he turns into a djinn. And one of them is bring a human back to life, which he eventually does when the kid dies. He also raps a lot.
You know what movie deserves a second chance
Hmm.
and a reboot? And I think the original is great. Maybe I'm an apologist for it because it either gets dunked on or forgotten. Last Action Hero
I love that
is
movie.
an awesome
Yeah.
movie, but it was genuinely ahead of its time.
Mhm.
People weren't ready to
Yeah,
be
no,
that
that-
meta about movies.
About
I
movies, yeah.
love that movie. It was good.
I think that movie was phenomenal.
I'd say what Hemsworth. You think?
Hemsworth would be an
Yeah.
excellent replacement.
No, that would be good. That would be really
I
good.
think people just like, and the story of that movie, it was like Sony's like first movie. They put way too much money into it, and it came out right around the time of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, horrible timing.
It was dead in the water.
Yeah.
But the premise is great, and I think you get like a different kid in there. You get somebody like there's so much fun in that movie, and it's a movie about movies.
Yeah.
That I don't. Yeah, I think people were too cynical back then. It was like it really hit on like the tropes of movies.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 5. I'd say maybe 10 years too early.
Yeah. No, I can see, I feel that. With Jurassic Park, what do you think about the reboots of Jurassic Park and stuff?
Stop going to the fucking island.
Like
They keep going back.
Yes, that too.
The the only way that people get killed by dinosaurs in these movies is going to the island with the dinosaurs that can kill
Like-
you, and they keep going back to it. Like, why?
What I don't like about I like the reboot of Jurassic Park just in general. Like I enjoyed it.
The Jurassic World.
It's
Yeah,
it's not a
whatever.
reboot. Let's
Okay,
be honest. It's a
whatever.
continuation of the same story.
Okay,
Can we-
continuation, whatever.
Can we
It's
admit that British assistant got it way too hard?
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
That was
I
that
agree.
Yeah.
felt like the director was annoyed with that actress. Like
Yeah.
it was spiteful.
Mhm.
The amount. Do you remember this? The way that she gets killed, like the pterodactyl, like grabs her, then dunks her in the water, pulls her back up, dunks her in the water.
yeah.
and
It's
like,
torture.
ripping her apart, and then like a giant like water dinosaur eats her and the pterodactyl.
Yeah.
I really think they hated that actress. I agree with you 1,000%. She
Yeah.
had it coming to her.
It's too mean.
Yeah,
like
it's very mean.
I remember this is like just a quick aside. There was a guy, I think his name was Jay Thomas, and he was on the show Cheers, R.I.P. George Wendt,
George went.
and he came and went, and he would have thought that was okay.
Yeah.
And no, but he was Rhea Perlman's husband on the show Cheers, and he had a radio show, and one day it was like, yeah, the toughest part of the show, having to kiss Rhea Perlman. Well, guess who hears about it? Rhea Perlman. And they like his character gets murdered by Zamboni on the show. Like they wrote the goofiest, like spiteful accident. And she's like, I'm fine. It's like, yeah, be careful what you say.
Yeah.
But so you like the Jurassic World?
I liked it, but like, okay, how many of those do they make now? Like 3?
This will be the 7th.
Well, I
It's
mean,
two
of like
Of the
well,
new trilogy.
the
This
new
is
trilogy-
the 4th movie? The 5th movie?
I think this is a new trilogy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the start of a new one.
Okay, well, after the fact that like with this new one, with not the new one, but like the other one with
The one
Chris,
with
one Chris Pratt.
Chris
Yeah,
Pratt.
Okay,
Yeah.
the one with Chris Pratt. After they get to the point where they're like, it's not just them like having the open theme park of the dinosaurs like trying, like getting out and having to deal with that. Like the second movie isn't as much about. It's not
It's about
like,
a guy's like
Yeah.
dead daughter who's
Yeah.
cloned. It was weird.
it's like when they're going off and the dinosaurs aren't just like even though they're still at the island and
Yeah.
it's not an active park, I start to lose interest in it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about it anymore after that. 'Cause
We
it's
spent
like
7
the
movies at the
fun
park.
thing is literally everyone being there and dealing with the dinosaurs getting out. That's what I like. But when it's like, oh, we're just gonna go to the island, the desert, like, oh, the theme park isn't there anymore, but we're gonna go get some like specimens from the dinosaurs or whatever, or some other things happening when the dinosaurs is pissed. I don't know.
I wanted to eat
Like-
tourists. That's what I'm into.
The end of the third one
Yeah.
is amazing when they have like this montage of like animals and dinosaurs living harmony.
Together. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like
I want a movie like completely
That is one
set
person's
here
porn.
with
Yeah.
the dinosaurs running around now,
That-
because that's where they
Yeah.
are.
that is literally gazelles and like raptors. Like that's one person's porn.
Yeah,
That is,
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
I am specifically into this fetish. Like
Yeah.
it's also the problem is the first one is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's hard to improve on it, and they couldn't. But they kept it small enough. There's, it's like they'll often think, well, if more people die, this will be a better movie, and it's like,
Yeah.
if 5
not the
people
count.
die in a movie and it means something each time they do, like that's kind of better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you don't feel anything after a while, like. Terminator 2 was one of the only ones where they
Terminator-
escalated it in a natural way.
Yeah. Terminator 2 is amazing.
Another perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's so
Start to
good,
finish.
dude. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I think the first Men in Black is like a pretty perfect movie.
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's definitely a good one.
Yeah, where it's just like you could watch any part of that and it's like, this is great.
Yeah. No, definitely. I ask everyone that comes on the podcast this question: is there anything that you do every day to make sure you're reaching your maximum potential?
Yeah. I hang out with my son. And that makes me feel like I'm at my maximum potential. We do I get the morning shift anyways.
Yeah.
So it's great because he'll come get me at 6:30 in the morning. And it's like I already feel like I did something.
Mhm.
Even if it's just like 7 a.m., and we just he asked me like today was hilarious. He came to my room. He took my glass. I was more tired than usual. He put my glasses on my face. And he's like, "Come on, Daddy. I want milk." He's 2.5. He's like, "I want milk." And then, and I get him his milk. And then he's like, "I want to watch Paw Patrol." And then I put on Paw Patrol, and he just snuggles next to me. And we watch Paw Patrol, and I was like, "This is so good. I'm not gonna point the plot holes out to you."
Yeah.
But it was it's like, and then it's like my day peaked. Like there's nothing I'm gonna do the rest of today, no matter what podcast I'm on with what cast member of Jackass. It's gonna come close to the emotional fulfillment of snuggling with a 2.5-year-old watching Paw Patrol.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Sometimes we just have people be like, "Oh yeah, I smoke weed" or something. So that was good. Like you had a good answer.
I've never really drank. I've never smoked.
Yeah.
I think it is like my type of spectrum is needing to be in control, and I never want to take anything that could take that from me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This has been
Thanks.
fun, dude.
Man, I could have ended on that laugh with the sun thing, but I'm glad I got into Marvel-esque end credits that was not as fulfilling.
So a Marvel end credit scene? Is that what you're saying?
Hell
The
yeah.
Fantastic Four survived their own movie. There's no suspense. No. But thanks for having me, man. This was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, thank you. Do you have anything you want to plug?
My podcast Nerd of Mouth. It is on if you guys know the Last Podcast on the Left, they have a network, the Last Podcast Network. It's with Jake Young and Holden McNeely. We talk about all sorts of nerdy stuff. We're doing a Trial of Stan Lee episode. Does he deserve the negativity he gets? We're doing best movie songs of the summer. Speaking of Men in Black, and we went into I explained my autism diagnosis and all of my symptoms on an episode.
Oh, hell
And that was
yeah.
really sweet. A lot of people reached out and were like, "I feel that way too." So it was cool.
Well, that's sick, man. So make sure you go check out Nerd of Mouth, and thank you for watching this episode of Maximum Zach. And stay maximum,
And
or don't.
I was told to make eye contact with the camera when I plugged, and I didn't because my autism is real. I don't make eye contact with things that ask me to make eye contact with them. Pum-pum-pum-pum.